Hello. You want to see more of me? Subscribe below.
One issue, same-sex marriage. You have equal protection. It's working its way through the courts. The decisions are getting more and more uniform. But then you have people of faith who say marriage is ours. God says it is a man and a woman. The Bible says, my faith says, which one wins with Dr. Carson?
Here's what I would do. I would do what the Constitution says. Constitution says civil issues of that nature should be determined at the state level. Why does it say that? Because the judicial system at the state level has to answer to the people.
What if people of a state vote for a law 100-0 that winds up infringing on the rights of a minority, like happened very often with slavery, like many would argue is happening now with people who are gay?
And our Constitution was followed, and we corrected those things.
And isn't that what's happening right now with same-sex marriage? It's being corrected as a form of violation of equal protection.
No, you can't just say because it happened that way this time, this is the same situation. It's not the same situation.
Why not?
Because people have no control over their race, for instance.
You think they have control over their sexuality?
Absolutely.
You think being gay is a choice?
Absolutely.
Why do you say that?
Because a lot of people who go into prison straight, and when they come out, they're gay. So did something happen while they were in there? Ask yourself that question.
Never go to prison, and you know there's a whole theory of dominance.
Wait a minute. I said a lot of people who go in, come out. Are you denying that that's true?
I am not denying that that's true, but I am denying that that's as a basis of understanding homosexuality.
If, in fact, that is the case, then it obviously thwarts what you just said.
A lot of people go into jail as a drug addict, and they come out as a criminal. But does that mean that all drug addicts are criminals?
Here's what's important. Why do gay people want to get married? Because they want to have various rights.
No, they want
property rights.
That's right.
Visitation rights.
They want their commitment to count just like mine and my wife's.
Why can't any two human beings, I don't care what their sexual orientation is, why can't they have the legal right to do those things?
That's what they're fighting for.
Okay, that does not require changing the definition of marriage.
But it would require covering that union as you do others, which is called marriage in our society.
I don't think so.
I would tell my children, as I tell them what I believe myself, and dealing with these social issues, whether it's abortion or gay marriage.
What do you believe?
I believe that marriage was defined by God a long time ago. Marriage is almost as old as dirt, and it was defined in the garden between Adam and Eve, one man, one woman, for life, till death do you part. So I would never attempt to try to redefine marriage, and I don't think anyone else should either. So do I support the idea of gay marriage? No, I don't.
Do you think homosexuality is a sin?
I think that it's unnatural. I think that it's detrimental and ultimately destructive to so many of the foundations of civilization.
So what do you do if one of your 6 kids says, "Dad, bad news, I'm gay"?
I'd sit down and I'd have a heart-to-heart with them, just like you would with your kids. I'd talk to them about...
If one of my sons said that, I'd say, "That's great, son, as long as you're happy." What would you say?
Well, I wouldn't say that's great, son, as long as you're happy. I'm going to say, you know, there's all sorts of issues that we need to wrestle through in our life, and just because you feel one way doesn't mean we should act on everything that we feel. But it's
and yet,
not only
some people would say that telling kids that being gay is a sin or getting married is a sin or whatever, that in itself is incredibly destructive and damaging in a country where 7 states now have legalized it.
Yes, but you have to also understand that you yourself are using a standard of morality to say that telling people such and such of a behavior is sinful. You're using a standard of morality to make that statement and say that that is terribly destructive. So everyone is going to have a standard against which they...
Listen, I'm not an American. I'm making the point that 7 states in America have now legalized gay marriage.
Well, Piers, you're speaking to a man who is a Christian, and I believe that all of us are sinful. I could stand at the top of the list and say that I need a savior and I need an overhaul of the heart more than anyone. And so that's what I teach my kids. I teach them the values that I hold dear. I treasure the God that loves me and forgives me of my sin. And I would teach that to my children, as well as having a wonderful relationship with them that my wife and I work on every single day. So your value system, my value system, we're all going to pick a standard against which we judge behavior morally. All of our laws, ultimately at their core, are going to be based on a moral evaluation.
Is gay marriage a Democratic-Republican issue?
In the most basic political sense, absolutely, right? People on the left tend to favor this. But if you were to divide the Democratic Party into subgroups, like, for example, African-American people, we saw that in California, they tend not to support gay marriage issues, which is, I think, is very sad. I mean, black people just got the right to vote like last week in America, and suddenly they're opposing marriage.
Gays can vote, Mark.
No, my point is we just started getting rights recently. I mean, we black people have only been voting really since 1965 Voter Rights Act. So it's very difficult then for black people to oppose civil liberties for other people. I think it's sad that we're even voting on the civil rights of other people.
I
mean, come on. If you were to put black people's right to vote to a national vote right now, they still might not win.
Vote Mark Lamagno. Mark, let me tell you how black people think.
Please do. Please do.
Tell them.
The issue is blacks were brought here in slave ships. They were enslaved. The laws of states discriminated against them for 100 years.
Absolutely.
Civil rights is a black issue. Now everybody in America wants to be black. The feminists.
No, everybody in America wants civil rights.
Illegal immigrants. Yeah, but you can't.
Everybody in America wants civil rights. They don't want to be black. They want civil rights.
Gays being denied.
And if civil rights is an issue that involves all of us, we all want our civil rights.
Right.
Why should gay people be any less?
They do have civil rights. No one can marry. Oh, yes, they can. They can't marry someone of the same sex. Neither can you. Neither can you. Neither can I.
You're saying gay people can get married as long as they're not gay anymore, essentially, as long as they don't function as gay people. I mean, come on, that's absurd.
Don't say this is equal rights. This is.
You should have the right to marry whoever you want. That's the point. Now, actually, my proposal is
absolutely not the purpose for marriage.
My personal belief is that everyone should get civil unions, and if people want to get married, they should get married by their religious authority.
Marriage
we just need one more nail in the coffin of marriage in America.
No, because I don't want to make these artificial distinctions.
Family has done such a great thing.
No, because I believe in a separation of church and state. And if anything is crumbling the black family, it's not gay people. It's crumbling economies. It's crack. It's police brutality.
No, it is the end of the black family, and that was done by. Oh, probably people said
you think gay marriage signals the end of a black family?
No, I think it's over because of other liberal policies. You already have.
It is absolutely.
No. It is because of what liberals did to the black family that we see how important a mother and a father are. Mommy and daddy must be married to one another, as I detailed in chapters of my last book, Guilty.
But can it be a civil union and marriage be a religious institution?
No, I'm not talking about religion, Larry.
She doesn't want to do that because she wants to keep the connection between church and state together.
No, it has nothing to do with the church. It has to do with civilization, and civilization requires the family, which means a mother and a father raising a child.
That's a religious narrative. That's okay, but let a church do it.
Theory. It has nothing to do with that.
What role does the state have to play in our...
Look, it was the state that's been subsidizing illegitimacy for 30 years, and look what that has done into the black family. It's destroyed it.
The fall, if you want to say that the black family is not together in terms of a nuclear, heteropatriarchal family, if that's what you're talking about, then the things that affected it more are crumbling economies, the injection of crack into neighborhoods, poor education systems. And the other thing here is that
if you take out the factor of illegitimacy, the difference in black and white crime rate disappears. That is a fact. Could we concentrate on that fact for a moment?
If you look at non-custodial fathers who are involved, you don't see a high crime rate. The issue here is not whether or not people are in the house or not. That's a particular American value.
This is what liberals have been trying to persuade us of.
Let me get a break, guys.
Using this crazy thing called data, statistics, evidence.
Let me get a break. Hold it.
Look at my last book.
Don't ask, don't tell. Repeal it?
No, in fact, I want the gays to come out against girls in the military.
Gay people should be able to serve freely. I hope that the president does everything he can.
He campaigned that he would, right?
Yeah, but right now Obama is playing to the center. I mean, he feels like he has the gay wing as well as the blacks in the black movement sort of in his pocket. And I think he's starting to play to the center. He's worried about independent voters, swing voters.
Is that a mistake or plus?
I think from a strategic perspective, it makes perfect sense. Unfortunately, from an ethical perspective, from a change perspective, I think it's disappointing. I think that President Obama is gesturing to the left but governing from the middle, and that's very, very dangerous to me politically.
Why are you opposed to repealing it?
Well, you say serve openly. Well, they can serve. I just don't understand. Well, two things. I don't understand this idea. I just can't get through the workday without talking about my sex life. How do you expect me to serve? Point one. Point two, all they have to do is not talk about it. Point two, the military.
While straight people can continue to talk about it. I mean, the whole, it's not like people want to walk around talking about their sexuality.
Point two, but what you can't get through the day.
Point one was terrible.
That's all you have to do, not talk about your sex life.
It's completely hide who you are.
You don't want sexuality influencing young men who are supposed to be defending the nation. And by the way, I really hate the idea of people who are not in the military deciding, oh, let's just change the rules here.
Well, people in the military have supported it. Colin Powell's pretty supportive.
Yeah, I don't trust generals.
You don't trust Colin Powell now?
No, generals are very political. They kiss up to get ahead. I'll trust a colonel. You produce a majority of colonels, but you don't go around changing the rules for something that is a very specialized field. Being in the military is very different.
Did you favor it when Clinton proposed it?
I think I was practicing law at the time, and I had absolutely no opinion. I probably didn't even know it happened.
Here's my confusion about you, because you've been with your wife, Kay, extremely generous in tackling things like AIDS. You've given millions to helping fight AIDS. So clearly
and
you don't
work
have
with gay organizations all around the world.
Right. So you clearly have no problem with gay people per se, and yet you want to prevent them having the same rights to get married as straight people. And that leads me to, I suppose, a more obvious supplementary question. Do you personally believe that gay people are born gay? Or do they become gay? Are they made gay?
Yeah. You know what? I think the jury's still out on that. It wouldn't bother me if there was, quote, a gay gene found, because here's what we know about life. I have all kinds of natural feelings in my life, and it doesn't necessarily mean that I should act on every feeling. Sometimes I get angry and I feel like punching a guy in the nose. It doesn't mean I act on it. Sometimes as you pointed out, sometimes I feel attracted to women who are not my wife. I don't act on, just because I have a feeling doesn't make it right. Not everything natural is good for me. Arsenic is natural.
No, but that's why, Rick, that's why I have to jump in again.
Sure.
That is why, though, this is such an interesting debate, because I just believe fundamentally and passionately that gay people are born gay. I don't think you become gay. And I think if you were able to convince yourself that they were born gay, you would see it differently. You would see it as a natural condition that people are gay. And then you may change your mind about their rights to have the same fundamental rights as straight people. But if you still believe that they're not born gay but become or get turned gay, then I can see that you can hide behind that as the justification, if you like, for not endorsing same-sex marriage.
I do not believe attraction is a sin, but I do believe that some actions are sin. I'm not responsible for all of my attractions. We know, for instance, that some people are born with natural predispositions towards certain things, either good or bad. Every one of us have those. I may not. I'm automatically attracted to certain kinds of art, certain kinds of music, certain kinds. I don't think that's a matter of right or wrong. But the Bible clearly states that I am absolutely in control of my actions. And since I have chosen as my authority for my life, not the government, not common culture, anything like that. And by the way, I appreciate the way you're developing this right now, because this is the very kind of discussions that we need to be having, that are sane, that treat everybody with dignity, that treat everybody with love, but could disagree on certain issues and still say, you know what, I don't agree with that guy, but I think he has come to his position from his background or from his...
Hello. You want to see more of me? Subscribe below.